Well, good morning. Happy Father's Day. I am not going to even try. I had some thoughts, but as far as what Caroline said, she pretty much nailed that. So what I am going to go right into, especially because of time, is something that I learned when I was younger. First, the thing I learned is that I was terrified of being married and then terrified of being a dad. I had zero idea. I really didn't get a lot of example in my life. And some of those where there were examples, maybe there were some bad examples and some good at times, but it was mixed. And so when I was young, I found this book, and it was called Point Man. And I was in the Army already, and so it sort of resounded with me. And I just want to make known, too, that in the well in the back, there's a bunch of Christian books on the pews back there. They were my father's. And there's a lot of good ones. If you want a book, is it open up right now? It probably is, right? If you want to go over there and grab some books, please do so. But this book's already called for because Ian grabbed it. But I told him I wanted to have it for today. But it's talking about really a father's role on the front lines of the home. Father's role on the front lines of the home. And that is our message today. And so, next slide, please. Keep going one more time, please. So this is what I did in the Army. In the front part, the front person was known as the point man. And you might think that's a really cool job. It's kind of not, because you're going to be about the first person to die, all right, in warfare. So you're going to be the first person to get shot. But your goal, briefly, is not to be so focused on the weapon, but your goal is to be focused on the direction and the timelines to get from point A and point B to point B. It is not to be a really cool Rambo dude. It is to get a family from point A to point B, and then from point B to point C. And so most of the time, my weapon was slung, and I had a map. We would patrol base up, and we'd look, check, we'd keep going, and I would have a compass reading. And so everyone would follow me. I had these things called cat eyes. I don't know if you can see them on there. On the back at nighttime, they would illuminate, and when I'd stop, everyone would halt. We'd go down. It was called a cigar-shaped perimeter, facing out, and I would recheck everything. Check my map, check direction. And so it's real important, because one time in Quantico, for those Marines, I was in Quantico, and I didn't realize how hilly Quantico was, and I was taking a step, and all of a sudden I went down a hill. Like I just started rolling. It was like a yard sale, and after me, people followed. About 3 or 4 people were rolling after me. So if the point man doesn't know where he is, you're in trouble. If the family doesn't have guidance, you can be in trouble. And there's some here who haven't had the influence of a father, who've had an amazing mom, or had amazing grandparents, or aunts, or uncles, and stuff like that. So thanks be to God for that. So Ephesians 6:10 through 13 says this: "Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of His might." How many have heard this, right? Right. So we're getting that little theme. Only 5 of you. Wow. All right. Okay. Now, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil, that you may be able to withstand. Hear that? You may be able to stand and withstand in the evil day, and having done all, stand firm. Stand firm. Well, how do you do that? How do you do that in light of being a point man? Second part of this is, how can a man lead his family? How can he lead his family? So, point 1, the point man knows the terrain. The point man knows the terrain. Men, you tracking with me? The point man knows the terrain. The prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple and go on and suffer for it. Everyone sort of plays this fact that if you follow God, and men, I am not like laying it down on you. I want to encourage you that maybe if you're not leading your family right now, this is a good way to start. But the prudent sees dangers and hides himself. Not only does he hide himself, he hides his family. And in relationship to a point man, the people that are behind me, I want them to be secure. I am supposed to be, a point man is supposed to smell danger, look for obstacles, look for tripwires, look for the enemy, all that stuff at the same time, and still navigate and look at the map and get someone from point A to B. But if you're not looking at the map, and you're not making an effort, and you're going to do whatever, but the simple go on and suffer for it. And that's fine if it's just you, but if you're leading family members with you, and you're just being simple about it, everyone's going to suffer for it. In warfare, a point man studies his terrain. He knows where the enemy might strike. Fathers must spiritually assess the cultural landscapes that their families live in. What ideologies, temptations, or threats are lurking? I want to tell you where I got this one wrong. I wish to God I had never bought a smartphone for my kids. I didn't have iPads, so I got away with that. I didn't have that. I wish I had known what they had access to was all new to me. I did not know, and I did not foresee that one coming. 3 of the 4, I think, were fine. 1 struggled hard because of a phone in their room. We must look at and know what temptations they're facing. Bullying, threats, and that that could be any way, shape, or form in you. It's like, am I providing and caring for and looking for what might happen? A point man has to have vision. Where is my family heading? Or maybe it's a current thing. Am I in the right place? If you navigate from the wrong place, you're still going to be lost, because you're going to think you're here and you're going to set up a compass azimuth, and you're not even going to be on the right spot, so you're still going to miss it. It's knowing, where is your family now? Where are they spiritually? Where are they physically? Where are they emotionally? Are we willing to look deep and ask the hard questions of ourselves first to encourage them? In warfare, a point man studies the terrain. He knows where the enemy might strike. Are you aware of the content that your kids are consuming? The voices influencing your home? How about your voice? I was bad grammar. I was raised to, it was a loud voice and a thump. When you say jump, you say how high while you're jumping. You don't wait to say how high and say it. What'd you say? No, you're jumping and saying how high. Now imagine how you do that. You don't. But it was immediate response required. And that's how I learned, and early on, that's what I did. And sometimes my voice was too hard for my children. So the content that they're consuming is also you, men. If you're here and you're going to want to be a dad someday, this is all for you too. You should be taking notes. Ian is not a dad yet, and he wants to take notes. I love that about him. Point 2, the point man leads with courage. Joshua 1:9, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened. I think Caroline hit that well, right? Men, it's okay to cry and it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be dismayed, but you cannot stay there. Because if you turn to the God and turn to others that you can trust in that point, if you turn in those things, then you can be not frightened and not dismayed. If you turn to the right people, the problem we usually turn in or turn out or turn to something to help us get along, instead of really trusting the Lord with that, or even bringing someone else in it. So here you have this command that if you trust God, look, we're going to have times where it's difficult and pressure. Caroline said that so well. It's hard. And men, I think, get a little different, and Kenny and I have talked about this, on Father's Day than moms get, for the most part. Like literally last night, all my kids are at the house, And the stories were funny things where I failed. You know what? To be honest with you, I didn't find it funny. Now, I joke around all the time, so I sort of build that terrain, and I know that. But we will make mistakes, and for the most part, they will be remembered. And that is a lot that we lead as a father. But if you are a wife or a daughter of a father figure that's still alive, please let them know how much they mean to you. Point men cannot afford cowardice. Neither can fathers. You can't be afraid to go into the unknown. Well, I mean, you can, and you might, but you still got to go. Cowardice is turning the other way. We can be afraid, but we still move forward. We take steps. We take steps forward. We don't have to go into a full run. A patrol does not do a full run unless it's running away from the enemy that is attacking them. Other than that, it's very quiet. This is what a patrol through the woods looks like. Watching what you're stepping on, looking all around. It's slow and easy, and knees cracking for it. Leading your family spiritually, praying with your kids, loving your wife, setting the boundaries, that takes moral courage. It doesn't take cowards. Those things sometimes are hard. They're hard to learn. They're hard to trust. They're hard to develop. But are you leading your family spiritually? A father who fears the Lord more than the culture is a man that's fit to lead. Spurgeon said it well. Train up a child in the way he should go, but be sure you go that way yourself. Take pictures right now. This is your chance. It's on the screen. Men, take a picture. Remember this one. Train up a child. Do we know the verse? Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not. But make sure you go that way yourself. Don't be a do as I say, not as I do leader. I hated those leaders in the military. Hated them. And I didn't have the tact not to say it back then. I'm just like, no, you gotta follow your own lead there, sir. Or whatever. First start, it didn't matter to me. Train up a child in the way you should go, be sure you go that way yourself. Part 3. The point man fights for his people. Do not be afraid of them. Nehemiah 4:14. Do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes. We have to fight for our church family. We have to fight for our homes. We have to fight against our own selfishness and sinfulness. That's where the real work is. It starts here. But it keeps saying, do not be afraid. Fathers are called to fight in prayer, in values, and in example. Most men like to be cool, carrying the weapon and being like, no one's going to come in my home. Well, what if our homes were protected spiritually by the fathers? The battle isn't against flesh and blood, but against passivity, addiction, apathy, and distraction. And those things are led by spiritual forces that are at work in our homes. One of the things that men go to first, men are passive by nature. Most men are passive. If something's being taken care of, they're just going to sit back. But we're called to reject passivity and see the issue and deal with it. Not just sit back and go, okay. You ever seen that meme where someone drops fuel in the back and the person walks away and just throws a match? Doesn't look back? Everything's blowing up. Well, it's not my fault. If it's your family, it is part of your responsibility. Yes, it is. We're called to lead and resist addiction, apathy, and distraction. We have to have our eyes on the map. And so in my analogy is this. The Bible is like the map that guides us. The Holy Spirit is the compass that tells us what direction to go. So we have to be firm in the Word and still lead forward. When fathers fail to lead, Satan doesn't have to break in. He's already invited in. Men, if we fail to lead, Satan, we don't have to worry about him breaking in. He's invited. We're leaving the front door open. Here you go. Have at it. Here's my home. Take it. Take it when we fail to lead. And I do want to throw something in for spouses. Fathers, do not be the man that is the one that's like, it is my way or the highway, and we're going to go do this, and not take your wife's advice if you have one, not take guidance from other people. Your leadership has to come through the people around you. It is developed. So how do we reclaim the role? You don't have to be perfect, but you must be present. And you must be prepared. You might go this morning, what, Eric, I'm present. Here I am. Got to be prepared too. You cannot learn how to fight the enemy and how to lead a family in 60 minutes on a Sunday morning. It is an active participation that needs to take place. Our families need fathers who are engaged courageously, godly, that they're courageous, godly point men who lead the way with faith and love. That's what we need. If you don't have that, mom or guardian or whatever, do your best to put that child around others that are going to help him or her grow. God is a God of orphans who now becomes their father. Something very poignant. I mentioned it before. When Rob Horner lost his mom and dad within a month, he said he was driving around and he felt like an orphan. And then, not too long after that, both of my parents were gone. And you know what? For a bit, you feel like an orphan. But we have a heavenly Father that we can go to. Final point. Blessed is the man who fears the Lord, who greatly delights in his commandments. His offspring will be mighty in the land. Sometimes you don't know when that promise is going to take place. But it is such a blessing to have a reverent fear for God. To understand that He's holy. To understand that He does have things that He calls us to do. That we fear Him out of respect and love, not just out of fear, like, oh, I'm afraid what He's going to do. No, but we have reverent fear. A father in the home, there should be some reverent fear and a lot of love. It's a unique balance, men. And it takes time to learn that. But here, it's ultimately, what's our relationship like with the Lord? Are we pressing into Him? Are we desiring to be on the field, in the game, leading a patrol, looking out for the enemy, so that our children will have to struggle less than we did? That is one of my biggest prayers especially when I was raising my 4 children. I pray they don't have to deal with what I have to deal with. And still, let me just say, they had to deal with stuff that I didn't quite have to deal with. We can't protect them from everything, but we can fear the Lord and trust Him. Amen? Men, be encouraged. If you're not leading right now, don't just hang your head low, but hang your head high. Be strong. Trust the Lord.